Hi, it's Mike with AskTractorMike.com. This is Wes, my neighbor, and in last week's video, we got Wes set up to take a tree puller and a grapple to new hunting ground that he's bought. And I want to first stop today, and I'm sure a lot of you that watch my channel have that are buying property in the country and looking for a tractor are doing it to have a place to hunt. And Wes has done that. And I want you to talk, Wes, this a little bit about this is kind of like a dream of yours.
Oh, yeah, definitely, definitely. Found a farm in Kansas and, we bought it, and I just couldn't imagine anything any better for hunting property, but it needs some work to get it how I want it for planting crops, on part of it and cleaning it up, and previous owner didn't have it completely cleaned up. They had gone in there and cut some trees down, and they had regrowth and stuff in the last 10 years, and it needed to be cleaned up before the local farmer was willing to go in there and plant soybeans.
Now, I want to talk about that. A lot of folks that buy property, I think, underuse an asset that they got getting started. If you buy property and you want a hunting area, if you've got a local farmer that will farm the ground in exchange for, and I don't know what setup you've got, but you can tell us about that.
Sure.
That ground is going to be cropped, and the crop that's there is going to be feed for the wildlife, the deer, until Wes could plant food plots he wants. Protect. Tell us how that all came about.
So I talked to a couple of other local guys that had bought property in that area for the same reason, and I said, "Who are you using to?" Because I realized they had crops, winter wheat, when we were looking at the property during the early spring, and they recommended this farmer. So I gave him a call, and he said, "Sure, I'd love to come look at it." And if they're set up to farm, the more ground they have, the better they like it. So and these guys are across the road from me. The farmer was 3/4 of a mile away, just around the corner, and he came over and met, and he said, "Yeah, if you can clean this up a little better, make it easier, because his equipment is huge for doing big row crops." And what we're doing is he's paying me X amount of dollars. It's starting off kind of on the low end, like out there in that area, it's anywhere from $50 to $75 an acre that he pays me to use our ground. But we're starting at 50 because he's having to do a little extra work. It's hadn't been farmed for crops in years. It's had cattle on it in the past. And also we're going to cherry part of it out, and we're going to leave some of the crops around the edges and places for the deer and turkeys and everything else.
And that comes with the deal.
That comes with the deal. And he's using all his equipment he already has, and all I had to do was go out and do a little preliminary work on it. You don't have to spend a fortune on a huge tractor and a lot of equipment if you can find a farmer that's going to do a lot of that.
And let's talk a little bit about what you found when you got to this property. Like, give us an idea how many acres there are there and what's growing there when you came on board.
Sure. It's 82 acres at approximately 35, 40 of it's in a mix of warm season grasses, natural grasses, and some clover was left from before, but mainly fescue and brome and things like that, and some weeds, of course. Not a lot of weeds. I was kind of impressed, but uh, I think they'd tried to attack that 2 or 3 years ago. Previous owner had, and kind of burnt the weeds back. But I just realized that whoever owned it in previous years, from the owner I bought it from, hadn't cleaned it up properly. They made an effort, and there are tree stumps out there, cedar tree stumps, and regrowth of cedar hedge and thorny locusts that were starting to take over the fields. And if it didn't get a hold up quick, it was going to really be a hard job. And thanks to a tree puller and a grapple, it saved me a lot of work.
Yeah, and you had to do that before the farmer came in and
Yeah,
farmed.
yeah. He didn't. He would have probably done part of it, but he just really does, especially the backfield. There's two different areas where he worked, and it's between a creek and a culvert, and is a backfield, and it had really been let go and was starting to grow up. And he said, "Well, if you can get that cleaned up, I'll do that section too." And I'm glad I did. It took a couple of days between the front and the back, and yesterday he went in actually and planted the soybeans and seemed to be happy with it. So
Cool.
yeah.
So I'm going to show this video because I do this YouTube channel and I'm always looking for content. And as I said before, Wes takes better care of my equipment than I do, so I trust him, and he knows what he's doing on a tractor bit to take my tree puller and my grapple out there and use it. And I'm going to show Wes. We're going to follow along with the video on the phone. Wes, the first thing, and you thought of this, and I should have told you about it. When you get a new attachment, and this tree puller a Stinger tree puller. I sell two tree pullers on my website. One has got 2 rows of teeth. It's more expensive, more industrial, and then the Stinger is more of an economy tree puller, and it's got 1 row of teeth. But this had never been in the field, and I what you thought of this? Tell us what we're getting ready to see you do here.
So when we went out there, the grappler, the way we needed to haul it out, the grappler was already on the tractor, and the tree puller was on the back on the skid porch. And so I unloaded the tractor, and there was a couple of previous brush balls. I used the grappler a few minutes, and so then I needed to get a hold of the tree puller and hook up to it to start pulling all the cedar trees and thorny locusts and etc. So went to hook up and um, of course, had a little fun with that, trying to hook up the attachments, but get used to doing that. And went to use it, and of course, it's brand new. It had zero. It might have had just a touch of fluid in it, but it probably used immediately 2.5 quarts.
Yeah, I'm gonna stop you right there. We're gonna run this. This is Wes realizing that we need to add hydraulic because no attachment is gonna ship with oil in. Let me roll this.
Okay, we added the new attachment, the tree puller, and cycled it, and it definitely had air in it and took on some new fluid. So we checked our fluid level, and we're low, so we're going to add some fluid and recheck.
So if you get an attachment and it's not working, don't call the folks that sold it to you immediately. Let it cycle your hydraulics back and forth a few times.
Yeah, it took 30, 45 seconds. At first I thought, oh, that's not good, and then I realized, oh, it's empty, because I ran into that before with a piece of equipment. So just went back and forth every direction with the levers and let everything get full up, and it's 45 seconds is working like a charm.
But do check your tractor hydraulic oil when you're done there. Okay, we're going to go to some video of Wes actually using the tree puller. Wes, we'll just I'm going to mute this so we don't hear the tractor noise. Sure, but just tell us what we're looking at here. What you're doing.
I'm setting up to pull up. There's several small thorny locusts and groves around the edge of this field, and I'm starting to get used to trying to understand exactly what maneuverability it has and what's going to work best for me. And I figured out not to grab too many at once. That they're relatively small, a couple inches across, and usually if there's a grove or two or three, I could get a hold of them right at the ground, and I'd work pivot to loader bucket controls like that for the puller, and then back and forth with the tractor a couple times, and it popped right out.
You use the front of the tree puller as kind of a set point, and then picked up everything from the back to use the ground as a kind of a.
Yes, I would go in there usually as deep as I could, and then tilt up a lot of times. Sometimes that wouldn't always work, but it seemed to be the best to go open the jaws, get the tree as deep into the jaws as you could, clamp down, and then pivot up back and forth.
Yeah.
And then take a tractor. If that didn't work, a lot of the smaller trees in mini would just pop right out, especially the cedars.
We're looking here at cedar trees, and my experience with cedar trees, they have kind of a fiber root system that come out pretty easy.
Yeah, you see, it just popped right out with just the pressure of the tractor. But I'd still go in and pop it like that, and then just get a hold of it, and that thing works so good. I would, as you can see there in the video, I would grab them and pull over to the side, tilt them up. Had a pile of cedar trees, gosh, 5 or 6 or 7 small ones in a group, and would just leave them there come to the grapple later, so I didn't waste my trip going across the field, 100 yards to pile them, and it piles.
If you got a bunch of cedar trees, you pull out easy. I'll pull out a ton of them.
Yeah.
Myself. But so you also did a little bit. The front snout of this tree puller is designed to dig, and you went underneath. So tell us about that.
Yeah, the front snout is really handy if you got a big grove and are kind of giving you trouble, and I realized that after I tried it a few times. So then when I'd see a big grove, I'd usually just take a snout, especially in that soft ground, just dig right under and just kind of breaks the roots up around it, and then go in and grab it and just pop right out.
Yeah, and our tree puller is designed to do that. It's harder in areas like we live in Missouri, and we're in the hilly, rocky Ozarks, and trying to. I always worry about there's people that buy these, trying to pop a pretty good sized stump out, and
Yeah, I don't think I could have done that right here. Yeah, very easy. But out in the Kansas where we were at, now some places in Kansas you can't do it either, but there it's black dirt that deep, and it would just loosen it up and really help me a lot.
could you tell a difference when you're pulling different types of trees, different breed of
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely. The hedge was the hardest, of course. Thorny locust was next after that, but cedars were very easy.
and that's predominantly what you were pulling up.
Oh yeah, predominantly what I was pulling. And the other thing that helped with that point on that puller is they'd cut some cedar trees probably 10 or 15 years ago, and you could actually kick them with your boot and they were loose. And boy, that thing, I just nose under them. I just flip them out of the ground. They just pop out like a mushroom and grab them and throw them in the pot. Yeah, so that helped me too.
All right, we're gonna go to the video now of the grappled in action. Tell us what we're looking at here. And I know I've watched this already. It took a little bit of time to get
Yeah, so that was the first. As soon as we unloaded, there happened to be an old cedar tree laying there, the stump and everything, and the root ball, and it was completely dried up and didn't weigh anything, but it was 15 foot long at least.
yeah.
And that's where I realized, I was trying to figure it out, but I picked the tree up, and I really liked the feature of that, having a separate pressure on
Yeah.
each leg of it, because it didn't matter that tree was, but that was the first thing I picked up with it, and I was going, "Wow, this is neat." I would have had to cut that up in 3 or 4 pieces. Yeah. Thorn to pick out and haul it off, and
Did you find when you were first starting to use the grapple that you got a little frustrated at the beginning? We're gonna see you here struggle a little bit to get these logs. It takes a little time to get comfortable with how those things work.
yeah, it especially these logs, those were hedge logs that they piled up in that field, and they were still really heavy even though they'd been laying there for years. And first I tried several and I figured out, "Oh, I can't do that." But trying to understand how to articulate the jaws, and it was just a learning process, almost like when a child's learning how to pick something up. I was fighting it to begin with, and I realized I come in and kind of just cup it as and every tree was different, of course, but after I ran it an hour or two, I really got the hang of it, and it was almost like an extension of my body.
Yeah, being able to pick up stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it's I always I talked to you last week's video about how you don't have to have that wide a grapple because stuff will stick out on either side and you'll be fine with that. You got to be a little careful if you got a small tractor. If you've got a heavyweight log on one side, we're going over uneven ground. You could end up with one back wheel up in the air, but that's not a problem out here.
Right, right, and well, even these piles right here, like there's I could tell right there, I didn't want to pick up much more than that. I was had a you got kind of a feel for the tractor, but doesn't see what happened to me. Yeah, it's trying to be too much at once. Yeah, and that's probably a good thing. The hedge is heavy, and I had to be careful because, um, you try to pick up 5 or 6 at a time, throw it even. I had to do a little maneuvering and regrab and
Yeah.
learning process, but it's really a great piece of equipment. Both tree puller and that both saved me a lot of man hours of manual labor. And when I was picking up the multiple hedge logs from the previous owner, it actually looked to me like he was getting ready to have a bunch of hedge posts and had trimmed them all up and they were all slick, and then he'd set a fire. I guess thought he could burn them and they didn't burn. And so I was trying to pick up 3 or 4 of these hedge logs at the time, and they're slick like power line pole, and they were actually more difficult to pick up than trees with a few limbs on, because it's kind of made it slick and nothing to grab onto. Your limbs actually helped when it come to picking up logs.
Yeah, that's my experience has been if you're taking trees down and the brush is kind of together and it's it'll kind of adhere to each other a little bit, especially if you could get your front end loader and push down on it, mash it together, and then when you grab it, it's just one group.
Yeah, and that's the way when I move the cedar trees, especially, or even the multiple thorny locusts. I had them all in pile, and I just come in from the top like that, and they were and mashed down, and it kind of helped them to intertwine it.
Yeah.
And with the ground being soft enough, I could get away with it out there. I could actually let the grapple dig a little bit on the surface into the dirt because it was black dirt versus our hard ground here. If you've got hard ground, I don't think you'd do it that easy, but it was really easy for me, and I just pick it up, and I see a little bit of dirt fall, and you can see where it scratched it, and it'd pick up the whole wad of trees and usually not draw a single one of them, all little trees, but I was really happy at back till I thought, "Well, I hope well, this is gonna work or not," but I just open the top and take it up.
Those clad wrappers, you kind of got to push forward, and then as you come to it, just kind of roll over it and then clamp it together. And the trick is not getting more stuff than you're opening it or gap.
Correct, and you're exactly right, because I tried that a few times, stuff there was some existing brush piles and with the piles of edge logs. I thought, "Well, maybe I can just do that," and I'd shove and then grab, and then I'd miss it. It wouldn't take them all. I'd lose part of them, and they'd come out every direction, and then they'd fall out, so I realized pretty quick, well, that's not gonna work. It's easier to just a little bit, fold
Roll.
over, roll it as you're moving, and just like that, and worked really well. Really happy with it.
Yeah. Any other advice for folks that are getting their first grapple or tree puller, either one?
Is just be patient at first, and I've ran a lot of equipment. I'm a retired lineman, and I've ran just about anything and has hydraulics on it. I've ran over the years, tractors, bobcats, whatever. But it's a learning curve, just like anything else, and to be patient, and you'll get it. After 30, 45 minutes, I was really comfortable, and the more I ran it, it just got to be an extension of my hand by the time I was done. It
Yeah.
saved me a lot of Lego.
Well, we may revisit Wes's project because, like I said, a lot of folks watch my channel. I don't do hunting stuff, but people that will pass through my channel to get a tractor on their way to establishing hunting ground. And we may talk a little bit more about this. May actually visit out there sometime, do a little journey. But I'm excited about you having that out there,
I love it.
and we may test out some more equipment because
Sounds good.
I appreciate you watching my videos. I'd be honored if you would subscribe to my YouTube channel, and you can do that by clicking the mic face icon, and make sure you check the bell so you get notified when I post future videos. There's a link to my website, a tractor fun store with cool things for sale for the tractor owner, including tree pullers and grapples. And here's another couple of videos you might want to watch. Thanks for watching.